Stop scrolling. Stop whatever you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see your life forever. I'm not talking about empty motivation or generic advice. I'm talking about the kind of truth that shakes you to your core, the truth most people are too afraid to face. Last night, something happened that completely shifted everything in my life, and if you let it, it can do the same for you. I need you to listen carefully because this isn't for the comfortable. It isn't for the people who are okay with excuses, with waiting for the right time, or with settling for ordinary. No, this is for the ones who are ready to see what they're truly capable of, the ones who are willing to face uncomfortable truths and act on them immediately. There's a secret that separates the successful from the average, and it isn't talent, luck, or connections. It's something far simpler, far more powerful, and yet almost nobody practices it. Tonight, I'm going to reveal exactly what happened that flipped my world upside down. I'm going to show you the invisible traps you've been living in, the comfort zones that are silently destroying your potential, and the brutal truth about why most people never achieve what they dream of. But I won't just tell you the truth. I'll show you how to break free, how to take control, and how to make decisions that create unstoppable momentum. By the end of this video, you're not going to be the same person who clicked play. You're going to be armed with a perspective so sharp, so real, that the life you've been postponing will finally start moving. But here's the catch: you have to watch until the very end, because missing even a single part of this will cost you opportunities you can never get back. If you're ready to stop waiting, to stop settling, and to finally take control of everything, then stay with me, because this is the moment your life changes. You need to understand something that most people will never accept. The truth is harsh, but it is the truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you the life you want. No one is going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly make your problems disappear, or deliver you the opportunities you've been waiting for. There is no external force that will rescue you from the consequences of procrastination, distraction, or hesitation. If you want your life to change, the responsibility lies entirely with you. This isn't a motivational slogan, it's an immutable law. Ideas, dreams, intentions, they are meaningless without execution. Potential alone will not move the needle. You could be the most brilliant mind alive, have the most extraordinary vision, and yet if you do not act, nothing will happen. Potential is cheap. Execution is rare. And that rarity is what separates the average from the exceptional. Think about it for a moment. How many people have brilliant ideas that never see the light of day? How many people spend years planning, theorizing, and dreaming, but never taking the steps necessary to make those dreams real? The world is filled with intellectual abundance. It's flooded with talent, creativity, and ambition. But the people who actually achieve greatness are those who do something with their thoughts. They don't wait for the stars to align or for someone else to give them permission. They take the messy, imperfect first step and keep moving forward, learning as they go. Execution begins with accountability. The moment you stop blaming circumstances, stop waiting for motivation, and stop seeking permission from others, you reclaim your life. If you are waiting for someone to believe in you, to support you, or to recognize you, you are wasting precious time. Life doesn't operate on recognition, it operates on results. Every second spent waiting is a second lost forever. And when you look back in 10 years, you won't remember the ideas you had. You'll remember the actions you took or the actions you didn't take. There is a psychological dimension to this as well. The human brain is wired to seek comfort, to avoid risk, to postpone pain, and yet, the path to achievement is often uncomfortable, risky, and full of challenges. Your instincts will lie to you. Your mind will tell you, wait until tomorrow, or someone else will handle it, or maybe this isn't the right time. Every excuse your mind offers is a trap, a way to protect you from temporary discomfort at the expense of long-term growth. Understanding this mechanism is critical. Once you recognize it, you can start overriding it. You can choose action over hesitation. You can choose to execute, even when your instincts scream to delay. That is the discipline that defines success. Look at history, at every great entrepreneur, scientist, artist, or leader. None of them waited for perfect conditions. None of them relied on luck to propel them forward. What separated them from the millions of dreamers was the willingness to take imperfect, immediate action. They started before they were ready. They acted without certainty, without guarantee, because they understood a simple truth: waiting guarantees nothing, while execution opens doors you cannot even anticipate. Every action compounds. Every decision builds momentum, and momentum is far more powerful than raw talent or intellect. Execution also teaches clarity. Many people complain that they don't know what to do, that they are lost, that the path is unclear. But clarity is not a prerequisite for action. Clarity comes from doing. When you act, when you take steps into the unknown, you start generating data, feedback, and insight. You learn what works and what doesn't. You refine your understanding, you adapt, and you evolve. If you wait until everything is perfectly clear, you will never act. The perfect moment never exists. Waiting for it is an illusion. Real growth, real progress emerges from the courage to step forward without guarantees. There is also a philosophical layer to this. Life is finite. Time is the only non-renewable resource you possess. Every moment spent waiting is a moment surrendered to inertia. Inertia is silent but deadly. It doesn't announce itself with drama or alarm. It creeps in, disguised as comfort, routine, or habit. And before you realize it, years have passed and your potential remains unrealized. To execute is to fight against that invisible current. To execute is to assert your presence in the world, to declare that your time matters, and that you will not allow it to slip away unclaimed. Let's talk about fear for a moment, because fear is the primary obstacle to execution. Fear is the mental barrier that convinces you to delay, to overthink, to doubt yourself. Fear is the voice that whispers, "What if you fail?" Execution does not eliminate fear. It doesn't make fear disappear. What execution does is create momentum despite fear. It teaches you that the pain of action is temporary, while the regret of inaction lasts a lifetime. Every step you take, even if it's imperfect, diminishes the power of fear. You begin to realize that the world is not punishing you. It is indifferent. Indifference is liberating because it removes the pressure to be perfect. You act not because success is guaranteed, but because action itself is the only path forward. Execution is not glamorous. It's not a moment of inspiration, it's a daily grind. It's the quiet decision to do what must be done, even when it is hard, even when no one is watching, and even when the reward is uncertain. It is the discipline to push forward when excuses beckon, to resist comfort, and to embrace the discomfort that accompanies meaningful progress. Every accomplished person understands this. They don't wait for signals from the universe. They create their own signals through relentless action. And here is the most critical insight execution compounds. Every small action, every disciplined choice, Biltum grows exponentially. 1 hour of focused work today is not just an hour. It is the seed of progress that multiplies over weeks, months, and years. The person who executes consistently becomes unstoppable, not because of luck, talent, or opportunity, but because they have harnessed the power of compounding effort. In contrast, those who wait, delay, or hesitate experience the compounding of regret. The years pass, potential fades, opportunities are lost, regret grows silently until it becomes unbearable. So when you consider your life, consider this. How much of your time is spent waiting for the perfect moment? How much of your energy is spent hoping for external validation? How much of your ambition is trapped in ideas rather than action? These are the silent killers of potential. They disguise themselves as safety, comfort, and logic, but in reality they are chains. Execution is the key that unlocks those chains. It is the force that converts dreams into reality, ideas into impact, and potential into legacy. You have everything you need to start today. You don't need permission, resources, or certainty. You only need the decision to act. One step taken now propels you into a trajectory of growth that waiting can never provide. The first action is the hardest, but it is also the most powerful. Because once you act, momentum begins. Confidence grows. Fear diminishes. The path becomes clearer not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. Execution is not just about doing. It is about claiming your life. It is a declaration that your time matters, that your potential is not negotiable, and that you will no longer wait for life to happen to you. The truth is simple, and yet brutally honest. If you do not execute, nothing changes. You remain trapped in the same patterns, the same limitations, and the same regrets. If you execute, everything changes. You step into the realm of possibility where growth, opportunity, and achievement are not just concepts, they are tangible outcomes of your relentless action. Remember, this potential is cheap, ideas are plentiful, and dreams are abundant. But execution is rare and it is priceless. Execution is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. Execution is the force that turns the invisible into the visible, the possible into the real, and the ordinary into the extraordinary. So here is what I want you to take with you. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop blaming. Look at your life honestly without excuses and ask yourself, are you acting? Are you executing? If not, why? There is no perfect moment. There is no external savior. The world does not owe you anything. The only thing that guarantees change is your decision to act today, right now, without hesitation. Execution is not optional. It is essential. It is the only way to transform potential into impact, dreams into reality, and life into legacy. The closing truth is this: if you want your life to change, if you want your future to be extraordinary, it will only happen when you decide that execution is no longer negotiable. You are the only one who can make it happen. You are the only one responsible. And when you finally embrace this truth, When you step into relentless action, you will realize something extraordinary. Everything you have been waiting for has been waiting for you to act. You need to understand something most people never confront. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It's subtle, it's seductive, and it masquerades as safety, as stability, as wisdom. Comfort tells you that you are fine, that you can wait, that you can ease into life slowly, gently, without challenge. But every time you choose comfort over growth, you make a decision to shrink your life, to limit your impact, to trade extraordinary possibilities for temporary ease. Comfort is not neutral. It is a choice that guarantees mediocrity. And the truth is, it is far more dangerous than failure because failure can be corrected. Comfort, once accepted, becomes a habit. It becomes a cage. Look around you. Most people's lives are designed around comfort. They structure their days to avoid risk. They choose routines that provide immediate satisfaction over long-term progress. They consume endlessly, scrolling, streaming, distracting themselves while their potential waits untapped in the shadows. They talk about dreams, they post about goals, they imagine possibilities, but action is minimal. Discomfort is avoided at all costs, and because humans are wired to seek comfort, it feels normal, even reasonable. But normal is not extraordinary. Comfort is not growth. Comfort is stagnation disguised as safety. The irony is brutal. What people call safety often becomes the most dangerous trap in their lives. Safety in routine, safety in habit. Safety and avoidance, these things don't protect you, they imprison you. They prevent you from discovering what you are capable of. They prevent you from seeing the exponential possibilities that exist just beyond the edge of your comfort zone. Growth is inherently uncomfortable because growth requires transformation. Transformation requires leaving behind what is familiar, predictable, and easy. And the human mind hates leaving behind familiarity. It will fight it, rationalize it, delay it, and distract you from it at every turn. Think about what extraordinary people do differently. They embrace discomfort as a tool, as a guide, as a signal that they are moving forward. They understand that pressure is necessary for development, that risk is necessary for innovation, and that challenge is the only path toward mastery. They do not seek comfort. They seek progress. They welcome difficulty. They lean into the moments that make others retreat, because they know that what is uncomfortable today becomes ordinary tomorrow, and ordinary tomorrow becomes mastery over time. There is also a psychological truth here. Comfort creates illusions of control. When you remain in your safe zone, you feel as though life is manageable, predictable, and secure. You tell yourself that you are handling things, because there are no immediate crises, no visible threats, no shocks. But the illusion of control is just that, an illusion. Life does not pause for your comfort. Opportunities do not wait. Challenges do not slow down. And the longer you remain comfortable, the further behind you fall, not only relative to your goals, but relative to the people who refuse to settle, the people who choose discomfort as their fuel. Comfort also breeds procrastination. Every decision to stay comfortable, every rationalization for avoiding difficulty compounds over time. A single day of avoiding hard work is insignificant, but weeks, months, and years of repeating that choice build a life defined by regret and unfulfilled potential. Comfort is addictive because it provides immediate gratification and avoids immediate pain, but it steals the only thing that cannot be replaced: time. The danger is not in the short-term ease, it is in the long-term consequences. Every comfortable choice is a vote against your future self. Every decision to settle is a silent agreement to accept mediocrity when greatness was possible. Philosophically, comfort is the enemy of transformation. Transformation is the only way to move from ordinary to extraordinary, from potential to performance, from dreams to reality. Transformation is not painless, and it is rarely convenient. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, to challenge your assumptions, to face fears that have been buried for years. And the pressure you feel when leaving comfort, that pressure is necessary. It is a signal that you are alive, that you are growing, that you are moving toward something meaningful. People often interpret pressure as a negative, as a sign to retreat, but the truth is that pressure is a guide, a compass pointing toward your future self. Let's talk about action within discomfort. Many people think growth means grand, heroic gestures, launching a business overnight, making a dramatic change in life. But in reality, growth begins with daily choices to embrace what is uncomfortable. It begins with showing up when it's easier to stay home. It begins with doing the work that no one else is willing to do. It begins with disciplined routines, difficult conversations, and consistent effort. Growth is cumulative. Each uncomfortable choice compounds, creating the foundation for future opportunities that would have been impossible within the safe confines of comfort. There is a critical distinction between temporary discomfort and permanent sacrifice. Temporary discomfort, stretching your abilities, challenging your habits, risking small failures, is the path to lasting gain. Permanent sacrifice, ignoring your own growth, hiding from challenge, clinging to comfort. is the path to stagnation. Extraordinary people understand this distinction intuitively. They willingly endure the pain of temporary discomfort because they see the long-term benefits, the exponential returns, and the future self that will be stronger, wiser, and more capable. Ordinary people avoid discomfort, seeking temporary ease, never realizing that ease is a slow form of death for their potential. Comfort also limits creativity. True innovation does not emerge from predictable routines or safe decisions. It emerges from risk, from challenge, from testing boundaries. When you stay comfortable, your mind adapts to safety and your creativity atrophies. Your ideas become derivative, your solutions become incremental, and your vision shrinks. To innovate, to create, to discover what is possible, you must embrace discomfort. You must willingly navigate uncertainty. You must accept the possibility of failure, humiliation, or loss, knowing that the alternative is the slow suffocation of your potential. And here is the final truth: comfort is not external. It is not a job, a location, or a circumstance. It is internal. It is a mindset. You can be physically active, you can be outwardly ambitious, and yet internally, if your mind clings to comfort, you are still trapped. True growth begins with internal rebellion. The conscious decision to refuse ease, to seek challenge, and to pursue discomfort as a tool for transformation. Every day, you must ask yourself, am I choosing the path that stretches me, that challenges me, that forces me to grow? Or am I choosing the familiar, the easy, the comfortable? The people who achieve extraordinary results don't wake up motivated every day. They wake up disciplined. They wake up committed to leaving comfort behind. They understand that the world rewards the person willing to endure temporary pain for long-term gain. They understand that the life you want is always on the other side of discomfort, and that delay, hesitation, or avoidance will never lead you there. So here is what I want you to take away: comfort is a trap. It is seductive, it is quiet, it is invisible, but it is deadly. It erodes ambition, limits potential, and slowly, silently destroys the life you could have lived. The antidote is discomfort, not reckless, chaotic discomfort, but deliberate, consistent discomfort aimed at growth, mastery, and impact. The person who embraces discomfort, who chooses the hard path, who leans into challenge, this is the person who achieves greatness. The rest remain ordinary, wondering why their dreams never materialized. And so I leave you with this thought: every time you feel the urge to stay comfortable, to wait, to retreat, remember this: what you are resisting is not hardship, it is opportunity. What you are avoiding is not pain, it is progress. And the only way to change the trajectory of your life is to consistently, intentionally embrace the discomfort that growth demands. Because comfort is easy, but greatness is not. The final truth you need to understand is this: one decision has the power to redesign your entire future. Not a goal, not a plan, not a wish, a decision. The distinction is subtle, but it is everything. Goals are negotiable. You can set them and ignore them. You can postpone them. You can fail to act on them and life goes on unchanged. A decision, on the other hand, is binding. It is a commitment to yourself, a declaration that you are no longer willing to tolerate the life you have been living. A decision transforms potential into action. It converts thought into momentum. And it is far more powerful than any external factor because it is internal. It comes from within, and no one can take it away from you. Think about the moments in your life where you look back and realize everything changed. I guarantee you, those moments weren't always spectacular. They weren't fireworks or sudden revelations. More often than not, they were quiet, internal choices, an honest conversation with yourself, a refusal to settle, a recognition that you were done waiting. That is the essence of a decision. It doesn't wait for external conditions. It does not require validation, resources, or certainty. It simply demands resolve. It is the moment when you say, enough, I am no longer negotiating with my own limitations. A decision is also the antidote to fear. Fear is what keeps most people trapped in a cycle of indecision, hesitation, and delay. Fear convinces you that you are not ready, that you are insufficient, that the timing is wrong. It whispers every excuse you have ever heard yourself use. But a true decision overrides fear. When you decide, fear becomes a background noise. It may still exist, but it no longer has authority. Execution flows from that decision. Action is no longer optional. Momentum is no longer negotiable. And once you have committed, you enter a feedback loop that accelerates growth, learning, and results. Consider how transformative a single decision can be when paired with consistent execution and deliberate discomfort. If yesterday you were stuck in a pattern of waiting, avoiding, or rationalizing, one conscious decision today can break that cycle. That decision might be as simple as: I will work relentlessly for the next 12 months. I will ignore distractions. I will pursue growth. Even when uncomfortable, I will take risks. Even when uncertain, I will not allow excuses or doubt to dictate my trajectory. It sounds simple, almost banal, but the consequences are profound. The person who makes that decision is no longer the same person who hesitated yesterday. They are now a force in motion. Philosophically, a decision represents agency. It is an assertion that your life is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. Most people go through life reacting, responding to circumstances, adjusting to events, drifting with the current. Those people never reach extraordinary heights. Agency comes from the conscious act of deciding. It is the choice to stop being a passenger in your own life. It is the recognition that the power to change everything resides within your own mind, within your own hands, and within your willingness to act. A decision also reframes time. Too often, people waste years waiting for clarity, waiting for opportunity, waiting for permission. But the truth is, clarity comes from action. Opportunity comes from risk. Permission comes from conviction. A decision compresses time because it forces immediate action. It forces you to confront uncertainty, to take steps even when you are unsure, to build momentum before the world signals that the time is right. Most people spend a lifetime waiting for the perfect moment. The person who makes a decision understands that there is no perfect moment. The only moment that exists is now. There is also a psychological depth to making decisions that is often overlooked. When you decide, you align your subconscious with your conscious intent. Your mind begins to prioritize the resources, attention, and energy required to execute. Doubt, hesitation, and distraction are diminished because your decision has created a framework, a structure of commitment that guides every subsequent action. The brain, wired to seek patterns and consistency, starts to work in your favor. Suddenly, the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable begin to appear manageable. The problems that paralyzed you before become opportunities for learning. Momentum begins to compound not by chance, but because your decision created conditions where action and progress are inevitable. Let's also address the emotional dimension. Decisions carry weight. They are not easy. They demand courage. They demand a confrontation with your own excuses, fears, and limitations. But that confrontation is the point. Emotional discomfort is the gateway to transformation. The person who makes a decision knows that discomfort is temporary, but the results are enduring. They accept the challenge of confronting their internal resistance because they understand that the alternative, inaction, is far more painful in the long run. Regret, missed opportunity, and the slow erosion of potential are far harsher than the temporary discomfort of making a bold decision. One of the most powerful aspects of a decision is its clarity. Once a decision is made, everything else becomes secondary. Priorities realign, energy is focused, distractions lose power. You start to see opportunities you would have missed, solutions you would have ignored, and pathways you would have dismissed. Decisions act as a lens, clarifying what matters and discarding what does not. They transform your relationship with your time, your attention, and your energy. Every subsequent action is guided by a single purpose: to honor the decision you made, and that focus is lethal in its effectiveness. Decisions also redefine identity. Before you decide, you are one version of yourself, tentative, hesitant, negotiating with limitations. After you decide, you become someone else, a person with purpose, commitment, and direction. The identity shift is subtle at first, but over time it is profound. Your habits, choices, and interactions begin to reflect the new self. You no longer tolerate mediocrity because it is inconsistent with the decision you have made. You no longer accept excuses because they are incompatible with your commitment. Decisions create a self-perpetuating cycle. The more you act in alignment with your decision, the stronger the decision becomes, and the stronger your identity becomes. The final reality to confront is that the world is indifferent. Opportunities do not wait. Circumstances do not pause. People do not intervene on your behalf. The only guarantee of transformation, of progress, of extraordinary outcomes is your decision. You must decide to act, to endure discomfort, to execute relentlessly, and to refuse the temptation of comfort and delay. Everything else, resources, luck, timing, is secondary. A clear, committed decision is the engine that drives results. So, as you reflect on your life, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one decision I have been avoiding? What is the choice that, if made today, would irreversibly shift the trajectory of my life? The answer will not be easy, but it will be simple. You know it. Deep down, you know the decision that must be made. It is the moment when you stop negotiating with fear, hesitation, and comfort. It is the moment when you assert control over your life and declare, without compromise, that you will no longer settle for less than your potential. The truth is, extraordinary results do not require extraordinary conditions. They require one extraordinary decision, made with courage and clarity, followed by relentless execution and consistent discomfort. The person who understands this principle holds the key to their own future. They do not wait. They do not hope. They do not rely on circumstances. They act, they commit, they decide. And that single decision, reinforced every day, becomes the foundation for a life that others only dream of. So I leave you with this: the life you desire, the impact you are capable of, the person you can become, all of it is waiting on the other side of a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. today, right now. Decide, and in that moment everything changes.